Right? Suddenly today we're showing you this problem, and you have decided to take this number to put it underneath that one. You're making your own new equation. You're making it a plus. It isn't necessarily a bad thing. I get what you're doing. You're just moving this over here, and then you're saying you're putting the answer in the middle as opposed to at the end. That's fine. But this is the first example that you've given me where you're trying to put this number underneath that number. When you're showing me yesterday, that wasn't what you were doing. You see what I'm saying? So I'm curious to know, is that something that you're doing every time? Because when you were doing the thing, you were not showing your work, but you were still getting the right answers. All you were doing was you had this question, and then you would just write in the answer right there. There was no work shown, and I'm kind of curious how you're doing that. Here's the pen. Trade me.
Because Peyton, here's the thing. For me, it would make more sense
Just
to
let him do
take
it. Just let him do
that
it.
bottom number and put it there and do math that way.
Yes, but now you're influencing how he's already doing it, so he'll appease us in order to get the answer that he's looking for.
Well, and that's not what I want you to do. I'm just telling you how I would normally do it.
Right, and that's why I'm saying don't do that. I want to see how he's doing it on his own.
Okay. Do it just completely how you did it yesterday. And how you normally do it. Like if me and Daddy are not standing here.
Ro, back up.
I'm trying to say that it means like the answer.
Yeah, that's the equal sign.
Also underline it.
Three, 5, 3.
Rowan, no, please.
Now I want to point out to you real quick. You made that same mistake the last time you were doing it. And the same problem. Do you remember? Do you remember that you wrote down in order 8, 9, 1, and then pay attention. You wrote down 8, 9, 1. Row! You wrote down 8, 9, 1, and then you crossed out the 1 and you changed it to a different number. Do you remember doing that? So you're making the same mistake again. I'm just pointing that out. Go ahead.
I feel like it would take away the 10,000s, but I'm not sure.
So there's a few things. So you are off by about 900. So here, you did the right thing. You borrowed from the 4 to give to the 5, right? To give to the 10s, I guess. But then, so you marked down 3, but then you second guessed yourself and you wrote down 4. So then when you went to borrow, or when you went to subtract again 4 from 3, you've already borrowed one of those. So you can't. So it's 3 minus 3, which equals 0. You see that? Mm-hmm. Then you immediately borrowed for the 15, but it wasn't necessary. Well, actually it was. Because that would be down to 5. Then you had to borrow for the 15. 15 minus 7 equals 8. Did I do it wrong? For some reason I thought it was 90.98. 47,353. So if we were to do this, I'll show you, once again, I'll show you the way that I have done it, right? 56,451. See, you're also doing it horizontally, which is just confusing me. I'm not saying, I'm just saying that's confusing to me. So if I do 47,353, keep in mind, I've also been doing this for 21 years longer than you have. So mine will be a little bit quicker. You know what I mean? So we borrow from the 5 to give to the 1. That gives me 8. Now this is 4. I have to borrow from the 4 to give to that. This is now 3, but 14 minus 5 is 9. 3 minus 3 is 0. 6 minus 7, I can't do that. So we never had to borrow from, that's I think where the issue was. You never had to borrow from the 5 to give to the 6. The 6 was already good, or you didn't have to borrow from the 6 to give to the 4, making that a 5. You didn't have to do that. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Are you saying that, or do you actually see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
Because you never had to give the 6, anything from the 6 to the 4. So it was already 6. So up here would now be, I had to borrow from the 5, which would now make this 16.
No,
Row, back off. Making it 9. And then you have 4 here. 4 minus 4 is 0. 9098. 9,098. What I'm confused by, and here's what I think is happening. I think you're nervous because we're watching you. Okay? Mm-hmm. Because I watched you do 4 questions like that. Exactly the way I'd written them. The 56,451 minus 47,353. You didn't show any work. You weren't borrowing here on the thing. Mm-hmm. You just wrote it down. There was no work. And I know that I'm not going to be able to get into your head to be able to understand how you did that. But I would like to at least better understand how you're doing the math in like the order. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you this next question. Okay? Mm-hmm. I want you to write down below it. I'm not even going to ask you to show your work. Okay? Mm-hmm. I just want you to give me the answer.
Rowan, stop. Stop.
Back row. Go sit in the couch for right now. Does it help if I get really, really close to you?
I thought it was subtraction for a moment.
Nope, it's a plus. Okay, so you made one mistake, but it was the earliest mistake. Can you catch it? Go through the math again. And then let me double check the answer here. And then you made one other mistake. Can you guess what you did? I think I figured out how you're doing it. You're trying to do it all in your head, but unfortunately, it's not easy to keep track of those things. Have you figured it out? Correct. That's what you're doing.
So he's trying to do all the work in his head.
He's trying to do all the work in his head. He's doing so here, and this is just what I'm gathering. In his head, and you tell me if I'm wrong or you tell me if I'm right, okay? Mm-hmm. He's going 7 plus 9, that's 16. So I need to write down 6. Now I need to add 1 to the next two numbers I'm adding, that's 9. So 1 to 9 is 10, plus 2 is 12, so 2. Now I need to add 1 to the next number I'm adding. That's 4 plus 3, so plus 1 is 8, so I'm going to write down 8. You're doing it all in your head. Is that how you're doing it? Mm-hmm. Is that how you're doing it? Or is that because you have a tendency to just say, yes, that's how I'm doing it, without telling me if I'm wrong or right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I want you to subtract it. So that plus sign's no longer there. Subtract it.
Without normally showing my work, or
Is there a way for you to walk us through how your brain is doing the problem? Just like you would do if you were talking on a stream?
Mama.
Rowan, sit down and be quiet. So tell us what's going through your head right now.
Tell us what you're doing.
I am looking at the numbers right now and checking if I'm right or wrong.
Right, but how are you doing that? Walk us through your thought process. I'll tell you this, right? Mm-hmm. Let's say I was subtracting 3 or 1. Let's say I was subtracting 1 from 3, right? Or I'm subtracting 451 from 353. Mm-hmm. So in my head, I'm first going to go, okay, so I can't subtract 1 from 3, so I need to get more. I need to make this an 11. And then 11 minus 3 is 8. That's how my brain's working it out in my head. I want to know how your brain is working this equation out in your head as you're doing it. You just talk out loud. Think out loud. Pretend we're not here. Think out loud.
So it subtracted this.
See, you're getting nervous. Go ahead. You subtracted the 7 from the 9 to give you 2.
All right.
Now what? And don't write it out up here. Don't do any of the work. Write down just the answer. Just tell us how you're getting it as you're doing it, okay?
So what's the next step? After the 9 and the 7, what is the next number you go to?
I know I can't do 9 minus 2. 2.
Let's go. Go ahead.
2 minus 9.
Right.
So I'm gonna.
Don't write anything down. Walk us through your head process.
So I'm going to make that 12.
Okay.
Hey, Rowan!
Okay, so
Stop.
now that you've made that 12, what is your next step?
Rowan keeps distracting me. I'm gonna do 9 minus 12.
Okay.
Which is? You're getting nervous. Yep, go ahead. Write it down.
3.
Mm-hmm. Now, next part.
Since the 9 canceled the 4, I'm supposed to add in there number right here. So that would be 0.
What do you mean 9 canceled the 4?
Oh, the 9 canceled the 2.
Why would 9 cancel the 2? I think you're getting
Since I can't
nervous.
do the problem.
You just did
No,
this
no,
part.
just go ahead. Keep talking.
So, since I couldn't do 9 and 9 minus 2, I add one more to this.
Okay. I see what you're doing. So you're doing extra steps is the issue. So what he just said was, this is what he's saying. And I apologize. This is the crux of what we're trying to get to. Okay? So what he's saying is so he couldn't do 2 minus 9.
Right.
So he made 2 12.
Right.
Then he subtracted the 12 from the 9 to give him 3.
Right.
3. Then he said that because he had to cancel out the 9, because in his mind he's doing it's on or off. Those are the two things.
Right.
So in his mind, he had to cancel out this number and this number, which means that now he has to add 1 to this number as opposed to subtracting 1 from this number. Do you see what I'm saying?
No, I don't even know how he would even come up with that.
It makes sense to me. It's more complicated, but I get what you're doing. You're basically saying because these two, now you've taken care of these two, but because you had to borrow on this side, you need to add to this side. Is that what you're saying? Mm-hmm. So he's saying that instead of this now being a 3, it's now a 4 in his mind. So because it's a 4, what's 4 minus 4? 0.
So he just added a step to it.
He added an extra step to be able to do it in his head. Does that make sense? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to send this to your teacher.